Trump debriefs the media on his Asia trip on November 15. By Mark WilsonGetty Images. Donald Trump has made a habit of appointing individuals to serve in his administration who are either supremely unqualified or seemingly opposed to the very objective of the agencies they are tapped to lead. The reported leading candidate to assume the number 2 post at the United States Census Bureau manages to check both boxes. Citing two sources familiar with the agency's plans, Politico reported on Tuesday that Thomas Brunel, a political and bureaucratic neophyte who has argued against competitive elections, has emerged as the frontrunner to serve as deputy director. The potential appointment of Brunel has amplified existing concerns that the Trump administration will seek to alter the 2020 U.S. Census in a manner that could have long-lasting ramifications. If true, it signals an effort by the administration to politicize the census, Terrian Lowenthal told Politico. It's very troubling. For a position typically held by nonpartisan civil servants, Brunel's background makes him a particularly eyebrow-raising candidate. According to Politico, Brunel has testified on behalf of Republicans in a half-dozen gerrymandering court cases and penned a book titled Redistricting and Representation: Why Competitive Elections Are Bad for America. As a professor at the University of Texas at Dallas, his research, which centers on redistricting and voting rights cases, has frequently been used by the GOP to defend gerrymandering. The Trump administration declined to nominate Brunel to the top director post at the Bureau earlier this year, which would have required Senate confirmation. The deputy job wouldn't require Congress's weigh-in. This is worse than making him director, a former high-ranking official at the Commerce Department, which oversees the Census Bureau, told Politico. There still is going to be hell to pay on the optics. The Democrats and civil rights community will go nuts. Brunel declined to comment to Politico. As deputy director, Brunel could potentially tip the scale in a way that could dramatically undercut the objective mission of the agency. There are tons of little things he could be doing to influence what the final count looks like, the former high-ranking Commerce Department official said. The ripple effect on reapportionment would be astounding. For instance, there are concerns that Trump may issue an executive order requiring the 2020 census to include a question about citizenship, which could result in fewer responses from minority and immigration populations, ultimately leading to their underrepresentation in the census. Two senior administration officials told Politico that this option has not gained much traction in the West Wing. Beyond Brunel's politically tinged resume, his appointment would mark a stark departure from the well-established trend of tapping individuals with substantive statistical backgrounds for the post. In the deputy director role, Politico reports that Brunel would effectively serve as the Bureau's chief operating and financial officer, managing the agency's estimated $15.6 billion budget, a task for which he lacks the requisite experience. It's quite a difference going from an academic setting to the Census Bureau, a person who has worked with Brunel told Politico. I don't think he's done the administrative work that would be needed to be at a high level in a large organization like that. The hypothetical appointment of Brunel adds clout to concerns, expressed by voting rights advocates, that Trump is moving undermine the $16 billion 2020 census. His starkly anti-immigrant rhetoric, along with his unsubstantiated claim that widespread voter fraud allowed Hillary Clinton to win the popular vote, have led activists to fear that his administration will over- or undercount certain populations, which could impact both voting districts and the number of electoral votes allotted to states. In addition, the Bureau received only a minimal 7% boost in funding in the Trump administration's 2018 budget request, despite the agency typically requiring a much larger boost in funding as the decennial nears. We could be headed for a train wreck if the Census Bureau doesn't get the resources it needs, Lowenthal told Politico in April. In October, Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross requested $187 million in additional funding for the Bureau than was included in the original Trump administration budget. If the Democrats manage to win back control of the House, and possibly the Senate, although it looks much less likely, they would regain power over redistricting, which the GOP deployed to great effect during the Obama administration. But if the Trump administration angles to rig the 2020 U.S. Census, such a victory could prove hollow. It is imperative that the Census Bureau's leadership be viewed by the public and by lawmakers as completely nonpartisan, Lowenthal said. If either the director or the deputy director bring partisan baggage to their position, public confidence in the integrity of the census could plummet. So could congressional confidence. And it is Congress that must accept the apportionment results. In short, she said, all this stuff worries me.